Hello there. My name is Sonia. This is Sonia with an I, and today I'm going to compare The Wizard of Oz book and movie. I had mentioned on my January plans video that I was contemplating doing a little comparison of children's literature with movies, and why not start at one of the best? So today I am going to be reviewing The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and I'm going to talk about the book that I just recently read and the movie in which I've seen a bazillion times. So let's chat about it. First of all, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz was published in 1900 by Frank Baum. It is a series of books that all take place in the magical world of Oz. Now, I was a little bit surprised and shocked how the differences between the book and the movie, and I'm very excited to share that with you today. So, the book, as I said, was written in 1900. The Wizard of Oz, the movie, was produced in 1939 by Victor Fleming, being inspired by the book The Wizard of Oz. And as I was reading this book, I could not help but notice, like I said, a lot of differences. And then I have this copy here. I think this is absolutely beautiful, but it's funny because you can tell that this was written after the movie because it's not The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So, let's take a little trip over the rainbow. As the opening scene in the movie, because I can't not help but think about the movie, but in the opening scene in the movie, in the book, it starts in Kansas. Dorothy Gale is the main character, and there is, in the book, there's a storm brewing. It's like one chapter. Kansas is, there's a storm brewing. There is Auntie Em, there's the uncle, and the farmhands are there. Now, something that's very different from the book than the movie is that the farmhands don't really have anything else to do with the story. In the movie, the farmhands are the characters, and that plot is not there. There's no Mrs. Gulch in this. There's no drama with Toto. There's none of that. Basically, it introduces Dorothy. Tornado comes, blows her to Oz. She, Auntie Em is telling her to get in the cellar. She doesn't get there in time. She's in Oz. All right. I don't get paid for sound effects. Anywho, when she gets to Oz, that's very different as well. She realizes that she's somewhere very different. It's very strange, just in like the movie. And when she comes out, then Glinda comes. Now, Glinda is not this young, beautiful woman, coming in a bubble. No. She is an older woman. Now, it doesn't say whether she's beautiful or not. She's just an older woman. The text states that she is an older woman, which I never thought of Glinda the Good Witch as being an older woman. I always thought she was just a beautiful woman. Now, Billy Burke, who played Glinda the Good Witch in the movie, was 50 when she did it, but girl did not look 50. She, I always thought she was just beautiful. Not that being older doesn't make you beautiful. I'm 50, all right. But I didn't think of her as an older woman. They very clearly say she's an older woman in this, which I thought was funny. She tells, Dorothy that you've killed the Wicked Witch, all of that, very same. There's not the brouhaha with all the munchkins and the songs and stuff in the book. But something that I remembered is that Glinda kissed her on her forehead and the lip print stuck. And everywhere Dorothy went, people would comment, "You have Glinda's mark. You have Glinda's mark." Which I thought was very strange. Okay, she tells her basically she needs to go to the Emerald City, that the wizard can help her. Pretty much like the movie, she gets on her merry way. She bumps into the Scarecrow. It's pretty similar. Similar things happen. She gets to the Tin Man. Now, something that I found very strange in this as I was reading, when I got to about the Tin Man, it hit me. We haven't met the Wicked Witch yet. In the movie, the Wicked Witch comes up from the floor, the fire. I'll get you, my pretty little doctor. None of that. Not a bit of that. There's no Wicked Witch yet. So even going through, going through the woods and the apples and the tree, and none of that. They're following the yellow brick road. And to be honest, it was kind of a little slow. Go to finally meet the Tin Man. The Tin Man is rusted, and they get the oil can. They do all of that, and he tells his story that he doesn't have a heart because someone broke it. He used to be a real man. That is not in this. That's not in the movie. That's in the book. That he used to be a real man and a woman broke his heart. He became a Tin Man because he'd had an accident with one of his legs and accidentally got rid of his leg, amputated himself and got a tin leg, and then had an accident with, many parts of his body were made of tin. So when the woman shattered his heart, then he was made of tin, but he wanted a heart again. So they continue to go. They run into the lion, similar kind of tale, except the lion here seems a little more courageous than the lion in the movie. But they get to the lion, that all, happens. They get very tired, and they end up going into this Munchkin village where everyone's wearing blue, and they find a place to stay, and the person who owns the house is like, oh, you have the Mark of Glenda. They get to stay there. None of that is in the movie, but it is in the book. They stay with the Munchkins. They talk about the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. They talk about the wizard and, plans to go to the Emerald City, all of that. So they get back on their merry way, and there's these creatures, these tiger-like beast creatures. Hey, it's editing Sonia here. The name of the creatures was kind of driving me crazy. They're called Kalidahs, Kalidahs, Kalidahs. And they are described as being tiger-like beastly creatures with sharp claws that were attacking them and trying to them. So, Kalidahs. Thanks. Remember the name of them, that attack them on their way, and it's kind of quite violent how they get rid of them. First of all, the cowardly lion was like, I'll get him, I'll protect you, whatever, which is not very cowardly. And then the Tin Woodman was like, and then, yes. So kind of a scary little moment. And there's, on the way too, there's the poppy field. It's a deadly poppy field. It is not the Wicked Witch who did it. It is just a field of poppies that are deadly. So there's that in there. There's also a Queen of the Mice, I believe. There's a whole scene with the little Queen of the Mice, and the mice help them get out of the poppy fields. They drag them out of the poppy fields. The Queen of the Field Mice. So the mice drag them out of the poppy fields. There is no snow from Glenda. And then there are, when they go to Oz, everyone there is wearing sunglasses. They're wearing green sunglasses. So the Emerald City isn't really green, but everybody wears green sunglasses, so they assume that it's green. So they call it the Emerald City. I thought that was hysterical, because in the movie, they don't wear those glasses. Now, guess what we haven't seen yet? The Wicked Witch. She still has not shown up. There is no Surrender Dorothy. There's none of that. So they go to the Wizard of Oz. They go to the City of Oz. They get trouble getting in. They finally get in. And the wizard shows up as something different to each character. So when Dorothy sees the wizard, I believe he's the big head like you see in the movie. When the Tin Man sees the wizard, he's a beautiful woman. He's like an enchantress. When the straw man, when the Scarecrow sees him, he's fire. And then when the lion sees him, he's some kind of scary, like a beast or something. So he appears in different forms for each character. Tells them they have to kill the Wicked Witch. So they set on their way to go find the Wicked Witch and go to the Wicked Witch's castle. Mind you, the Wicked Witch has not shown up yet. And if someone was coming to my house to kill me, I'd be a wicked witch too. That's all I have to say. Wicked witch has done nothing but mind her own business until they get to the Wicked Witch's castle. The Wicked Witch defends herself. She ends up kind of getting rid of the, she has her flying monkeys, get rid of the crew, grabs Dorothy, takes Dorothy to her castle, and she turns Dorothy into a servant, into a slave. And the crew of 3, the Lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow, get together, figure out an idea, break into the castle to rescue Dorothy, and they end up fighting the Wicked Witch. Now, something else that I found was funny is the Wicked Witch controlled the monkeys by this golden cup. I believe it's a golden cup. I want to say a hat. There's some sort of like item that controls the monkeys, but they can only be controlled like so many times. And when the Wicked Witch had them get Dorothy and destroy them, then the winged monkeys couldn't be controlled anymore. So with Dorothy through the water, the witch died. I mean, there's the scene with the witch is like 10 pages, which very anticlimactic. I was not happy about that because I love the Wicked Witch. They go to Oz. They go back to Oz. They found out that Oz is terrible, that he's a horrible man. He is a horrible wizard, but he tries to make it up to him. He gives the Scarecrow, some certification and tells them that he's in charge of Oz while he is away, or in charge of Emerald City while he's away, gives the lions courage, gives the Tin Man his heart, and then he decides that, he'll take him back, or he'll take Dorothy back. It does not work out. And Dorothy wept bitterly past her hope of getting home in Kansas because the wizard couldn't get her back to Oz, was going to take her to Omaha because that's where he was from. And then she realizes that, that she can get back with the magic, and then she goes back to, there's still little extras there. They go through different counties and stuff, like the county of the Quadlings, but there's nothing like that mentioned in the book. And then eventually the Good Witch helps her to get home. And when she's home again, it is literally a paragraph. Like when she gets home, there's none of this waking up from a dream. There's none of this like Hunk and the other farmhands. There's none of this professional. None of that is in there. None of that. It is Auntie Em had just came out of their house to water the cabbages when she looked up and saw Dorothy running towards her. "My darling child," she cried, folding the little girl in her arms and covering her face with kisses. "Where in the world did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy gravely, "and here is Toto too. And oh, Aunt Em, I'm glad to be home again." That is literally it. She's home. Book's done. I hope that doesn't spoil the end of you for you, but I mean, this book is, over 100 years old. So anyway, there's none of the reunion. There's none of that. It's just that simple thing. I'm home, and then boom, end scene with the book. Also, most people know this, but you may not. The shoes, the shoes that everybody wants in the book are silver. They are not red, which I found interesting as well. I found the witch very anticlimactic, like very not really even existing. Also, something little detail about the witch. There's no mention of her being green in here, and she only has one eye. She's a one-eyed witch. And she's mean to Dorothy when she's being a servant, like she, makes her do all these things, but you came to my house to come kill me, I might make you do things too. Anyway, there's a lot of, in this, I enjoyed this. I actually gave this 5 stars. I did really enjoy this. But if I were reading this to children, and this is, I put my teacher hat on a little bit, if I were reading this to children, we would be having a lot of discussions. This was written as a product of its time. It was written in 1900. There is a lot of mention of in here, especially with the creatures. I wish I could remember the name of the creatures that they attacked. But they're like these tiger-like monster creatures trying to prevent them from crossing this gully in the yellow brick road, and they have to fight them. And it just kind of a little scary, and kind of a little what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, a little violent, I think, for young kids. We would be having a lot of discussion. I probably would not have read this book in my classroom, not because I believe in any sort of, censoring books, or, I don't think I would feel comfortable as a classroom teacher reading a book about in here, I do think that if a child liked The Wizard of Oz, they probably would enjoy this story, just to kind of see the differences in it. I did really enjoy it. Like I said, I did give it 5 stars. My favorite thing about this book, honestly, is the creativity. Frank Oz. That's Yoda. Wrong scene. Frank Baum and Frank Oz is a creative too, but Frank Baum is incredibly creative. When I read The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, this was so creative and imaginative, and I absolutely loved it. This is as well. Like the world building, the different types of people. There are multiple, The Wizard of Oz, the movie, does not even begin to touch the scene of like all of the different people in Oz. They mention the Quadlings several times. They mention, Munchkins, Quadlings, just different groups of people. There's the mice, the field mice, the queen of the field mice. There's these, I wish I could remember the name of the bad creatures. I just can't. There's like all these different types of creatures, like, the controlling how to control the flying monkey. None of that is touched. And I found that interesting in here, like why all that was happening. Now, I did listen to this on audio. I didn't read this, even though I own 2 copies of it. I'm not really sure if this has the whole book, or maybe this is like a condensed. This says that it's unabridged. So, and you got it free when you bought Folgers, by the way. This is one of those Whitman classics. These are so cool. The back is cool. And whoever had it before, I got some original artwork too, because they colored in it a little bit and, did some annotating. I mean, very impressive. So my final thoughts on this. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Do I love the book as much as I love the movie? No, because of the sentimentality of the movie, the connections that I have from watching the movie, the memories that I have in it. I grew up with it. I've seen it a bazillion times. I've been multiple characters from The Wizard of Oz. I've been Dorothy in a play. I've been the Wicked Witch of the West. I've been the Scarecrow. So that part, I will have to say, I don't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it or love it as much as I love the movie, just because of the experience of the movie. Did I love it and enjoy it as a story? Absolutely. Would I suggest that other people read this? Absolutely. If, like I said, with my suggestion with kids, just, read especially young kids. Read this with them, have conversations. It is a product of its time. There are some problematic things in here that could be either scary or need further explanation from a loving, caring parent or caregiver. For older kids, I think that would be okay for them to read. I enjoyed it. I actually want to read the next. I think that I might try to read the whole series, or at least read the next few. And, let me know if you enjoyed this, and if there's other books that you would like to do. When I talked about doing this, I thought, well, I'll just do one, but I've done a little research, and I kind of want to do several, or a little series of let's compare the book to the movie. Matter of fact, the next one I'm going to be doing is Peter Pan, because I received 2 beautiful copies of Peter Pan from my friends Mitzi and my friends Elizabeth. Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes, and Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I received some beautiful copies of books. I want to read Peter Pan. I've never read it before, but I've seen the movie, so I thought that would be fun to compare as well. started doing some research and fell down a rabbit hole, literally, because Alice in Wonderland is another one. The Alice in Wonderland book, Alice in Wonderland movie, even just digging into Disney. Disney has so many Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I didn't know that was a book. So I think that I may continue to do this. If you all like it, please let me know. Do you have any extra facts or any observations that you noticed from reading the book? Have you read the book? Do you like the book? Do you like the movie? Let's talk about it in the chat. If you got this far, leave me a green heart for Emerald City in the comments, and with your questions or with your comments or observations, I would love to hear it. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Have the most amazing day. You make the world a better place just by being a part of it. And, you know, follow that rainbow as much as you can. Until next time, happy reading. Goodbye now.